You're watching ChillyBoy Productions. I'm Larry ChillyBoy Chilson, and this is my review for The Color Purple. Now, before we get into this review, make sure to go ahead and click that subscribe button down below so that you can chill with me on each and every one of my latest videos. The Color Purple is a 2023 musical drama from director Blitz Baziwale, adapted from the novel The Color Purple from Alice Walker. Torn apart from her sister and her children, Celie faces a plethora of hardships in her life, including an abusive husband. With support from a sultry singer named Shug Avery and her stand your ground stepdaughter, Celie ultimately finds the extraordinary strength in the unbreakable bond of sisterhood. The film stars Fantasia Barrino, Coleman Domingo, Taraji P. Henson, Halle Bailey, her, Corey Hawkins, and Danielle Brooks. So, of course, many of us were introduced to the story of The Color Purple through the Steven Spielberg classic film starring Oprah Winfrey and Whoopi Goldberg. But it originates from the novel from Alice Walker and has since gone on to become a stage musical that is much more in line with what this new reimagining is an adaptation for. Because unlike the Steven Spielberg film, this is a musical through and through, adapting the hit songs from the Tony Award winning stage musical. Now, I absolutely adore the 1980s original film, and I'm not the biggest fan of musicals by and large, so I have to admit, I haven't watched the stage play, and I also was nervous heading into my viewing for The Color Purple. But thankfully, the film mostly overcomes my trepidations to ultimately deliver a satisfying and uplifting experience, even if it ultimately fell short of becoming the next classic. So, let's go ahead and talk about the positives first. Well, I have to start with this ensemble cast because they are all amazing. Fantasia Barrino steps into the shoes of Celie, and she does so with wonderful ease. This is an iconic role who has had many a great actress and singer take this part, and Fantasia is able to make it her own in a really beautiful way. For this being her first major acting role, I really felt that Fantasia knocked it out of the park. Of course, the vocals were on point. Her rendition of I'm Here is a show-stopping number. But I was so impressed with the subtlety and the emotion, the pain, the triumph of her acting performance. She is fantastic. I also found Taraji P. Henson to be fantastic as Shug Avery. Now, she's not the grand singer, so particularly when we put her next to someone like Fantasia, it's like, all right, go on, Taraji. But I loved everything else she did with this character. The set pieces were fabulous and over the top with her musical performances, and she brought so much depth and emotion. Honestly, I actually think everything about Shug Avery in this rendition of The Color Purple is a step up from the Steven Spielberg film, and a big part of that does have to do with Henson herself. Coleman Domingo is just as terrible as he needed to be to sell this role. The usually likable man is horrifying in this film, so scary and intimidating. He really digs deep into the character of Mister to bring out the essence of who this man is at his core, and he nailed it. And then we have Harpo, played wonderfully by Corey Hawkins, who has one of the best dance numbers in this entire film. His solo song as he's building his house is really great, but it's the choreography and all of the men who pull it off that really shine there. But outside of that, Corey Hawkins is always fantastic. I honestly don't think I've ever seen Hawkins deliver a less than great performance, and this is no exception. And of course, we would be remiss not to talk about Danielle Brooks. Much like Celie, Sophia is an iconic role for The Color Purple, popularized obviously by Oprah Winfrey herself in the Steven Spielberg film, and Danielle Brooks steps into that role with a fiery passion. She is kind of giving that scene-stealing performance here. It's big, it's broad, and it's bold, but then she gets to really dig into the hurt of who this woman is and understand what Sophia has been through and how that shaped the woman she's become. The vocals are off the charts. She has probably the most fun song in the entire film. She is actually reprising the role of Sophia after playing it on the stage in Broadway. And I think she was able to translate that stage performance to the screen really, really well, which is not an easy task. Obviously, the story itself is amazing, and that's why it's been a classic for as long as it has and endured multiple retellings in such a fashion and continues to be such a staple. But what I think this film and Blitz do so well with the story itself is really craft that sisterhood and really have the audience feel the bond. So by the end, once we get to the big grand finales for these characters, starting with I'm Here all the way through to the ending, it's emotionally overwhelming because they've done such a good job of crafting that sisterhood and the bond and Celie as a character and what she's been through and what a great person she is. And I really am thankful that Blitz let us just like stay in some of these big emotional moments without music even and let us soak in the emotions we were experiencing. So then, what doesn't work so well when it comes to The Color Purple? Well, I kind of gave the caveat heading into my review. I'm not the biggest fan of musicals by and large, but when they're executed well, they are a lot of fun and they are able to sweep me off my feet and take me into the magic. Unfortunately, with The Color Purple, it wasn't able to shake off the formula, the very standard stage musical feel of it all. It felt like a stage musical being filmed in a lot of ways rather than this grand motion picture. The songs just kind of were inserted into places with the choreography feeling like it came out of nowhere. Sometimes I even think the songs felt a little bit out of place or inappropriate for what was being done on screen. And this is a hard one because it's such a hard subject matter, and music, particularly for a film like this that is just so heavy and so sad for long stretches. Music is a great levity to convey the emotion. But unfortunately, I think sometimes, like it does in a lot of live action musicals, specifically for me, the music got in the way. And even with the cinematography or the camera work, unfortunately, it wasn't able to really overcome that stage play type of feeling. And then the editing was my other kind of issue with this film. And honestly, I think it's a little bit of an issue with the Steven Spielberg film as well. But the editing in this version specifically led to some weird pacing issues as well. The story is so expansive. You cover such a huge amount of time, and there's so much that happens in this amount of time that you do kind of feel like you're just jumping boom, boom, boom from one event to the next event to the next event. And I wish the transitions and the movement through that process was smoother here because it definitely starts to feel like it's dragging in the first half of that final act to the film. But overall, I really enjoyed The Color Purple. I think if you're a fan of musicals by and large, you're going to love this film. It delivers everything a musical promises to deliver. If you're like me and not the biggest fan of musicals, I don't know how you're going to feel about this one because it's definitely a musical to the T. But as a celebration of the strength of Black women through history, through this story, as a testament to that sisterhood, it definitely succeeds. It gets you in the feels by the end. So even if you're worn down by the songs, the ending makes sure to nail the emotional slam dunk it needed. So this is a great film to get the family together. Go watch The Color Purple. Get your friends all together. Head out to the theater. If you enjoyed the original film, if you enjoyed the stage play, if you've enjoyed the novel, I think you're going to love this adaptation. Come for the performances, stay for the heart. So that was my review for The Color Purple. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, Click that like button down below and subscribe to the channel so that you are always up to date on all of my latest videos. Also, join in on the discussion. Are you excited to see The Color Purple? Are you a fan of the novel, of the Steven Spielberg film, of the stage musical? Let me know all of your thoughts either in the comment section down below, or you can hit me up on Twitter. I love you all so much for your continued support. Mwah! Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.